Have you ever wondered why, despite working hard year after year, most people never truly break free from the invisible chains of financial struggle? Picture this. You wake up every morning, pour your energy into your job, chase every deadline, and yet at the end of each month, your bank balance barely budges. Meanwhile, somewhere out there, someone your age, maybe even younger, is quietly amassing wealth, building empires, and living a life you only dare to dream about. What's their secret? Is it luck, a privileged background, or something much more profound that no one ever told you? Let you in on a hidden truth that will shake your perception of wealth to its core. The world's richest people did not get there by simply working harder than everyone else. In fact, if you look closely at the data, you'll find that 75% of the wealthy are entrepreneurs, 15% are investors, 7% inherited their fortunes, and a mere 3% are athletes or artists with rare, marketable talents. Not a single name on the list of the ultra wealthy earned their riches by trading time for a paycheck alone. It's a fact that's almost taboo to say out loud. If you only work for money, you will always be at the mercy of those who own the money. But here's the twist. The true distinction isn't just about what you do, but what you own. Ownership is the invisible line that separates those who accumulate wealth from those who merely survive. The wealthy own businesses, assets, intellectual property, or rare skills that generate value even when they sleep. They are not simply workers. They are creators, builders, and most importantly, owners. If you own nothing, you will always be owned by your job, your bills, your obligations, and the endless rat race that keeps you running but never arriving. Why is this so rarely discussed? Because the system is designed to keep you comfortable enough not to question it, but anxious enough to never truly escape it. We're taught to chase promotions, not ownership, to seek security, not freedom. And so, generation after generation, most people remain trapped in a cycle, never realizing that the rules of the game were written long before they ever sat down to play. Imagine what would happen if you started thinking like an owner instead of a worker. How different would your life look if instead of trading hours for dollars, you built something that could outlast you? What if, instead of asking, "How much can I earn this year?" you asked, "What can I own that will grow in value, no matter what happens to me?" The answers to these questions are the keys to unlocking a future where you're not just surviving, but thriving. If this truth makes you uncomfortable, good. Discomfort is the first step to transformation. The biggest secret is not how to earn more, but how to own more. The sooner you internalize this, the sooner you can start rewriting your own financial story. If you want to break free from the ordinary and discover the unspoken rules of wealth that the rich never teach, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Your support is what motivates us to keep bringing you powerful, like eye-opening content that can change your life. And now, a question for you. If you could own just one thing, anything at all, that would increase in value over time, what would it be and why? Drop your answer in the comments below. I want to see how you think, and maybe you'll inspire someone else to start their own journey to ownership. If there is one lesson the wealthy have quietly mastered, and that most people overlook, it is the art of managing money with intention and discipline, regardless of how much they start with. While many believe that the path to financial freedom is paved with massive inheritances or lucky breaks, the truth is far more empowering. You don't need to be born rich to build wealth. In fact, some of the most successful self-made millionaires began with nothing but a clear strategy and the courage to follow through. What truly separates them from everyone else is not the size of their paycheck, but the way they allocate every dollar that comes into their lives. Enter the 25-15-50-10 rule, a deceptively simple formula that has quietly powered the rise of countless millionaires and financially free individuals around the world. Unlike complicated investment strategies or restrictive budgeting plans, this rule is elegant in its universality. No matter where you are on your financial journey, whether you're just starting out, earning a modest income, or already on your way up, the 25-15-50-10 rule can reshape your destiny. It doesn't demand sacrifice, it demands intention. Here's where the magic happens. This rule invites you to treat every dollar as a seed with the potential to grow, protect, sustain, and reward. Imagine dividing your income into 4 distinct streams, each with its own purpose, each working together to build a foundation that is as resilient as it is abundant. 25% of your income goes directly toward growth, investments that have the power to multiply over time, whether that's through stocks, real estate, or even your own education and skill set. This is not about gambling or chasing quick wins. It's about planting seeds in fertile ground and patiently nurturing them, knowing that the harvest will come. 15% is dedicated to stability, your safety net, your shield against life's inevitable storms. This is your emergency fund, the quiet assurance that you can weather job loss, illness, or unexpected expenses without spiraling into crisis. It's a declaration that you refuse to be vulnerable to the whims of fate, that you are building a life on solid ground. 50% is reserved for essentials, the non-negotiables that keep your life running: housing, food, transportation, and other basic needs. But here's where the wealthy think differently. They don't let lifestyle inflation devour this category. They resist the urge to upgrade every time their income rises. Instead, they practice restraint, channeling excess funds into growth and security, not fleeting pleasures. And finally, 10% is set aside for rewards, the joys, the experiences, the moments that make all the discipline worthwhile. This is not a loophole for reckless spending. It's a recognition that financial freedom is not about deprivation, but about intentional enjoyment. The wealthy understand that celebrating small victories keeps motivation alive and prevents burnout on the journey to bigger goals. What's most striking about the 25-15-50-10 rule is how it breaks the cycle that traps so many: the endless loop of earning, spending, and running out of money before the next paycheck arrives. By assigning every dollar a role, you create a system that works for you, even when your willpower falters. Over time, this system compounds your efforts, turning small, consistent actions into extraordinary results. The difference between those who thrive and those who struggle isn't found in the size of their income, but in the structure of their habits. The wealthy don't just hope for a better future. They engineer it, one intentional decision at a time. The 25-15-50-10 rule is their blueprint, and it can be yours too if you dare to take control. True financial transformation begins not with vague intentions, but with precise, deliberate action, especially in how you allocate your resources. The 25-15-50-10 rule is not just a set of numbers. It is a philosophy that demands you see money as a tool for growth, security, stability, and fulfillment. To truly harness its power, you must understand the purpose and psychology behind each category, and how each one, when honored, becomes a pillar supporting your long-term prosperity and peace of mind. The first and most vital pillar is the commitment to growth. Allocating 25% of your income to growth is an act of faith in your future self, a declaration that you are not content to merely preserve what you have, but are determined to expand it. This is where the wealthy quietly diverge from the masses. While most people save what is left after spending, the wealthy invest first and spend what is left after investing. The growth category is not about hoarding money in a low-interest savings account, but about putting your capital to work in vehicles that multiply its value over time. This could mean methodically investing in index funds that mirror the performance of the entire market, allowing you to benefit from the collective progress of hundreds of companies while minimizing risk. For those with more experience or appetite for risk, it could mean direct stock ownership, real estate ventures, or launching a side business. Perhaps the most overlooked investment of all is in yourself, acquiring new skills, certifications, or knowledge that can dramatically increase your earning power in the years ahead. The magic of this approach lies in its compounding effect. The earlier and more consistently you invest, the more you benefit from exponential growth. Consider the difference between someone who starts investing a modest sum in their 20s and someone who waits until their 30s or 40s. Even if the latecomer invests more each month, the early investor's head start allows compound interest to work its quiet magic, often resulting in a much larger nest egg by retirement. This is why the discipline to allocate a fixed percentage to growth, no matter your income level, is so transformative. It is not about the amount. It is about the habit, the unwavering commitment to prioritize your future over fleeting pleasures. And in many countries, there are tax-advantaged accounts, ISAs, Roth IRAs, 401ks, that can accelerate your progress by shielding gains from taxation. The wealthy are relentless in seeking out and maximizing these opportunities, understanding that every percentage point saved or earned compounds into a fortune over decades. Yet, the pursuit of growth must be balanced with the need for stability. This is where the 15% allocation to security comes into play. Life is unpredictable, and even the best laid plans can be derailed by illness, job loss, or unexpected expenses. The wealthy do not leave themselves exposed to the whims of fate. They build robust emergency funds that serve as a buffer against the storms of life. This fund is not an afterthought or a nice to have. It is a non negotiable foundation. The goal is to accumulate enough to cover at least 5 months of essential living expenses, giving you the breathing room to recover from setbacks without resorting to high interest debt or liquidating long term investments at a loss. The key to an effective emergency fund is accessibility and safety. It should be kept in a high yield savings account or a similarly liquid, low risk vehicle, someplace insulated from market volatility but still earning a modest return. Automation is your ally. Set up automatic transfers as soon as you receive income, so you never have to rely on willpower alone. If you ever need to dip into this fund, make it a priority to replenish it quickly. Some find it helpful to use roundup savings apps that automatically deposit spare change from everyday transactions, accelerating progress with minimal effort. The next pillar, consuming 50% of your income, is perhaps the most revealing of your true relationship with money. This is the category of essentials, the non-negotiable costs that keep your life running. Housing, food, transportation, insurance, basic clothing. Here, many people, even those with high incomes, fall into the trap of lifestyle inflation, allowing expenses to swell in tandem with earnings. The wealthy, on the other hand, are masters of restraint. They understand that every dollar spent on upgrading lifestyle is a dollar that cannot be invested or saved for the future. They are deliberate about distinguishing between needs and wants and unafraid to make unconventional choices to keep essential spending in check. This might mean choosing a modest home in a great location rather than a sprawling house with burdensome maintenance costs, or relying on public transportation and car sharing rather than owning a depreciating vehicle. They scrutinize every recurring expense, questioning its true value and eliminating anything that does not serve their long-term goals. Over time, these habits create a sense of control and intentionality that is rare in a world driven by impulse and advertising. Finally, the 10% allocation for rewards is the secret ingredient that makes this system sustainable for the long haul. Too often, financial advice is couched in terms of deprivation, cutting out every pleasure, living on the bare minimum, sacrificing joy in the name of discipline. The wealthy know better. They recognize that the journey to financial freedom is a marathon, not a sprint, and that motivation must be renewed regularly with moments of joy, celebration, and self-care. Dedicating a specific portion of your income to rewards is not indulgence. It is strategy. It is a way to honor your hard work, nurture relationships, and infuse your life with meaning beyond the numbers in your accounts. The key is to separate this money from your main accounts, perhaps by opening a dedicated fund and automating transfers each month. This creates a psychological boundary that allows you to enjoy rewards guilt-free, knowing you are not undermining progress elsewhere. And while material purchases can bring temporary pleasure, research and experience show that investing in experiences, travel, learning, creative pursuits, gifts for loved ones, yields far deeper and longer-lasting satisfaction. The wealthy are intentional in their enjoyment, seeking out experiences that deepen gratitude and fulfillment rather than chasing fleeting highs. What emerges from this system is not just a budget, but a philosophy, a way of relating to money grounded in clarity, balance, and purpose. Each category supports the others. Growth fuels future abundance. Stability offers peace of mind. Essentials provide a solid foundation, and rewards keep your spirit alive. When you honor each pillar, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstance or emotion. You become the architect of your own financial destiny. The 25 to 15 50-10 rule is more than a formula. It is a blueprint for a life of freedom, security, and joy. Available to anyone willing to act with intention and courage. The enduring difference between those who achieve lasting wealth and those who remain financially stagnant is not simply a matter of knowledge or luck. It is rooted in mindset and the systems they build around their money. The wealthy do not merely accumulate information about investing or saving. They cultivate a way of thinking that frames every financial decision as an opportunity to create value. Ventney. And they architect their lives so that these choices become automatic, consistent, and almost effortless. At the heart of this mindset is a sense of ownership. not just over assets, but over one's future. The wealthy see themselves as stewards and creators, not passive recipients of whatever life hands them. They are relentless in seeking out opportunities where their money can work for them, whether through investments, businesses, or personal development. But just as importantly, they recognize the limits of willpower. They know that even the strongest intentions can be derailed by fatigue, emotion, or the relentless pull of consumer culture. So, rather than relying on daily discipline, they construct systems, automated transfers, recurring investments, spending rules, and accountability structures that do the heavy lifting for them. This is not a display of weakness. It is a profound strength, an acknowledgement that sustainable success is built not on heroic effort, but on smart design. True wealth is often invisible. There is a quiet power in resisting the urge to display success through outward consumption. The truly affluent understand that every dollar spent on status or fleeting pleasures is a dollar that cannot be invested for future growth. They live by the principle that real wealth is measured not by what is shown, but by what is kept and multiplied. This does not mean denying oneself all enjoyment, but rather refusing to let external expectations dictate one's financial destiny. In a world that constantly tempts us to spend for validation, the wealthy are guided by internal goals and values, not by the shifting standards of others. Starting early, even with modest sums, is another cornerstone of this philosophy. Time is the most powerful lever in building wealth, more so than any single investment or windfall. The wealthy act with urgency, not because they fear missing out, but because they understand the compounding effect of small, consistent actions taken over long periods. Every dollar invested today is worth exponentially more than one invested years later. This sense of urgency is not about anxiety, but about respect for oneself, for one's future, and for the possibilities that disciplined action unlocks. Ultimately, sustainable wealth is not an accident or a product of extraordinary luck. It is the result of intentional thought and the careful construction of systems that align daily choices with long-term aspirations. The wealthy do not trust themselves to always make the right choice in the moment. They trust the systems they have put in place. They automate, they track, they adjust, and above all, they remain true to a mindset that values growth, prudence, and quiet confidence over showmanship. In doing so, they free themselves from the tyranny of impulse and the pressures of appearances, allowing their resources to quietly and steadily build toward a life of genuine abundance. True financial mastery is never just about numbers on a spreadsheet or rigid formulas. It is about embracing a philosophy that transforms the way you relate to money and, ultimately, to your own life. The 25-15-50-10 rule is more than a budgeting technique. It is a modern framework for living with intention, clarity, and purpose in a world that constantly tries to pull you off course. When you commit to allocating your resources with wisdom, you are not just preventing the anxiety of running short each month. You are actively shaping a future where freedom, security, and fulfillment are within your reach. Financial freedom is not a distant dream reserved for a lucky few. It is a destination that becomes accessible the moment you decide to act with purpose. The act of dividing your income into clear categories, growth, security, essentials, and rewards, is a declaration that you are no longer willing to drift through life hoping for the best. Instead, you are taking the reins, building structures that protect you from uncertainty and empower you to seize opportunities as they arise. There is immense power in knowing that every dollar you earn is being put to work in service of your highest goals, not simply slipping through your fingers in response to the demands of the moment. This journey does not require perfection, nor does it demand that you wait for some ideal circumstance before you begin. The most important step is the first one: to start, wherever you are, with whatever you have. Whether your income is modest or substantial, the discipline of thoughtful allocation is what plants the seeds of lasting wealth. Over time, as your systems strengthen and your mindset evolves, you will find that the old worries, fear of not having enough, anxiety at the end of the month, regret over missed opportunities, begin to fade. In their place grows a quiet confidence, rooted in the knowledge that you are building something enduring, not just for yourself, but for those you love. Building wealth is not about deprivation or relentless sacrifice. It is about making choices that honor both your present and your future. By owning assets, establishing emergency funds, controlling your spending, and allowing yourself to enjoy life's pleasures in a mindful way, you are crafting a life that is both resilient and rich in meaning. This is the essence of sustainable prosperity, the ability to weather storms, to seize moments of joy, and to look ahead with hope rather than fear. So let this be your call to action. Do not wait for the perfect moment, the higher salary, or the next windfall to begin living with financial purpose. Start today with intention and courage. Review your income, set up your categories, and automate your decisions wherever possible. Reflect on what truly matters to you and let those values guide every financial choice. The journey to lasting wealth is not a sprint, but a series of small, consistent steps taken with conviction and heart. Over time, these steps will carry you further than you ever imagined, toward a life of freedom, stability, and genuine abundance. The future you desire is not as far away as it seems. It begins with the decision you make right now.